Okay, welcome in the inventory valuation revolution. My name is Gilles Merckx, and I'm an inventory expert. I can tell you inventory valuation was working well in Odoo 18. However, we discussed with some accountants and we realized some of them were starting to fight against the system. And discussing with them, we could realize we could agree with some of their observations. First, they had too much of manual work, okay? Because of manual valuation. Also, there was too much of data because inventory valuation automated was generating too many journal entries and too many journal items. Also, the valuation layers were creating too much of data and useless constraints, generating constraints like not possible to backdate transfers. Okay, so we decided to go for a revamp to cope with these problems. But feel reassured, we succeeded in doing more with less. Odoo 19, the message is that we have a simpler structure with less constraint and with more features. No valuation layers anymore, so we can do things easily, more easily. We have less journal items. We just want to keep for accountants what they really need. And also, we have a guided closing. We have the possibility to backdate transfers, which was not possible to be done before. So, to be sure we are on the same page, I want to remind you a little bit of history. So basically, every time a product was entering the warehouse, there was a valuation layer created with a positive amount to increase inventory valuation. When a product was leaving the warehouse, there was a valuation layer with a negative quantity and value created to decrease the valuation. So the valuation was basically the sum of incoming layers minus the sum of outgoing layers. Now there is no valuation layers anymore. Valuation is stored on stock moves, which is way easier. Also, we don't speak about continental and Anglo-Saxon accounting, but about periodic and perpetual accounting. So, if you have any questions, you can type that on the pad, and I will show you a little demo to show you that we have a simpler structure with US perpetual accounting, that we have more possibility for data utilization with B periodic, and then that we have some new features. So now, let's jump into the DB to show you that we have this simpler structure. What are the configuration? How does it work? So let me go in that database. Here I'm on the demo Perpetual. So I start with Perpetual. Now I need to go first in the settings. In the settings, I go to my valuation. Here I can see inventory valuation. I have my Perpetual at invoicing that is encoded because I'm in US Perpetual. It means that every time I receive a bill or an invoice, my inventory valuation in stock and in accounting is synchronized. I decided to go for an average cost valuation method, the same as before. And we have a valuation journal. I will go in debug, and a valuation account. On that valuation account, that's very important, we have set up here an expense account. In this expense account, we will store all the products that we have received, but which were not billed yet, or all the products, the value at least of the products we have delivered, but for which we did not do the invoice yet. Okay? So let's go for a purchase order. So I type for a vendor, product, I select my product AFCO. Let's take the AFCO. Unit price 10, and I confirm my purchase order. Okay? So far nothing happens. Let me show you one new menu we have in which we can compare the valuation in accounting and in the stock valuation. So it's valuation. Here I can see I have nothing over here. When I will receive my product with a value of 10, I validate the receipt, I can see that my valuation is basically 10 in inventory and 0 in my accounting. So that's the initial balance of my stock account. So if I go in my moves analysis, over here, I can see when I have received it, I have a stock move that has been created, and the valuation is now stored on stock moves. No valuations anymore, no valuation layers anymore. It's stored on stock moves. It's way easier. Valuation layers were repeating information. Here we just have the additional info on stock moves. If I go my menu, I can see there is a difference of 10 over there, and the system displays this difference should be stored in my expense account to store the difference. Now, let me go back to my purchase order and upload the bill. So it's not the right document, but it's just to upload the bill. I confirm my bill. Nothing changes in terms of moves analysis. But here, if I update my valuation menu, I can see it's synchronized. We are in perpetual. So it means every time I receive my bill, there is a synchronization between my valuation in stock and in accounting. We can do the same then with the sales. So if I make the sale of this product, whatever the unit price is, when I just make the delivery and deliver my product, I go in my moves analysis, another move has been created with the value of 10, but it's an outgoing one. And so when I go to my valuation menu here, I can see my valuation in accounting is 10, but in stock it's 0 because I have delivered the only unit I had in stock. And so there is a difference of 10 here for which I delivered, so it's not in my stock, but it's not yet in my accounting. So now when I go to my sales order and I make the invoice, I confirm it, I can see here that it's equal. So we can see it's been up to date. Okay? It's synchronized, and we can see after how it goes when we don't receive the invoice at the closing. That was for the simpler structure. Now, how can we check the data? How do we analyze the data? So for that, I want to go on my periodic company, be periodic. So I go to the settings to show you how different it is. So still a bit the same logic, but here we have the periodicity. So even though we are in periodic, so more like manual before, we can, or continental, we can manually make the journal entry for inventory valuation, or we can do it daily or monthly. Okay? So the other information we need to make clear over here is that we have a valuation account like that, and on the valuation account we have a variation account on which we will store all the quantities we have received, but for which we did not encode the update in the inventory valuation. Because in periodic we just record valuation once every period. So for that, let's make a purchase order. I'm connected on both, so let me just stay on the periodic one. Let's make a purchase order from my vendor for my FIFO product here. Okay? So let's take a unit price of 100. I do confirm it, and I receive it. I validate. Then I duplicate my purchase order. I confirm it. Sorry, let's receive it, that's fine, and validate, and I will duplicate this purchase order again. And now I will change the price to 200. Voila, and receive my product. So I have 3 products in stock at 100, 200, and 200. So it's more difficult to know what is the valuation. So now I can go to my inventory app, and I have a new menu which is stock. So we don't want to analyze valuation on my stock moves, that's where it's technically stored, but we can go here on the stock menu where I see my valuation, which is 400, and we can see the details of the different moves we have on which we have this valuation which is stored. Okay? Other things I can show you, and that work still as before. For example, if I got my purchase order, I upload a bill, and the bill tells me it's not 100, it's 600. Let's say it's very different. I confirm it. Then in my stock menu, we can see the valuation has been updated accordingly. So that's fine. And something else we can do as before is that if I go to my moves analysis, I can now in my list view take one specific unit I had in stock, one move, and say when I received it, it had the value of 200, but I made a mistake. I want to change it to 280, and I can save. And now, when I do that, it's updated automatically and in the stock also. Okay? So everything is updated as before. We can do everything that we could do before, but we have also a few additional things that we didn't have before. Something to help us to make the closing. Okay? So let me go back on my Belgian company periodic one. So I want once every period make my entry for valuation. So I go to my valuation interface, and over there I can see that I have 0 in my accounting, okay? And I have 980 in my stock. I can do something else also. For example, I go to my physical inventory, and here I say I have a product standard price. Let's imagine I have 4 units on hand, okay, and I apply. When I go back to my valuation, I can see, so let's check, sorry, there is no cost on the product. So let's imagine it's 25. Okay. So if I go to my stock valuation, I can see the system record here the amount that has changed in terms of inventory loss. In the stock variation account, it stores all the valuation change that has not been recorded in the accounting yet, and I can generate the entry. When I do that, the system pre-configure an entry to encode the valuation in the system. Remember, this is because I have decided it was a manual inventory valuation. If you make it daily or monthly, the system will generate it and post it for you automatically. Okay? So when I post it, this is fine. This is in the system. If I go back to my US Perpetual, that's a bit different. So let's imagine we make a purchase order. Because there we want to update accounting every time we receive an invoice or a bill. So let's confirm it and receive it. So I receive it. So now when I go to my valuation interface. So before, when we were in Anglo-Saxon automated, every time product was entering the warehouse, it was creating a valuation layer, valuation layer, but also journal entry. Here, nothing has been created, but just if I do generate entry, I can create it myself. Okay, so I can do post, and if I do that, the entry has been created as it was the case before, and probably it will be possible to automate it also pretty soon over here. Okay, so when we go back to periodic, the last thing I want to show you is that I can make a purchase order for my product here, which is I will take the AFCO one for that one. Okay, so 1,000, let's say. I confirm and I receive it. I validate my reception. Then I go back to my purchase order. I duplicate this one and I say another one of 1,000. I confirm it and I receive it. I validate. Okay, so if I go to my stock valuation menu, I have this valuation of 2,000. But then let's imagine I remember I made a mistake. This one had been received at a different date. So I go back to my receipt and I change the effective date from the 18th of September to the 10th of September. I apply and I save it. Okay, so I update my stock menu. It doesn't change anything. But now if I do inventory at date, I can check here, like the 16th of September. I apply, I confirm, and I see it has taken into account in my inventory valuation that I have backdated a transfer. That would be nice, notably when you make your inventory count at the beginning of the year, while you want that to be up to date in the accounting of the previous year. Okay, so that was for the closing and backdating. So in conclusion, we have a simpler structure. No valuation layer, less technical constraints, more readable data. It's easier to retrieve because we don't create too many stock moves, too many journal entries, too many journalized items. And we have more support for accountants. We have this closing interface that should simplify their life. And we have also the possibility to backdate transfers, which was not possible in the past and which was required by the community for a long time. So the main message here is that really be reassured. We are going in the right direction. It's going to be simpler. We have less constraint. We will be able to do more things. Okay? So thank you very much for your attention. I'm pretty sure you have many questions. So feel free to scan the QR code and ask that. And I just remember I'm an inventory expert. So if you have advanced accounting questions, because of course it's on both expertise, I will maybe not be the one to be able to answer, but I can send you to the booth if needed. Okay?
What if I made a mistake with the price in the PO? Will it be synced?
Just in the PO, so when you make your purchase order, there is no impact in the moves, there is no impact in the accounting, so it doesn't affect anything in terms of inventory valuation. If you have received the product and you want to change it, you can do adjust valuation on the stock moves, and it will just update the PO price. Also, as I have shown, what is important is not the purchase order price, it's the bill price. So it means that if you receive a bill with a different PO price because you made a mistake, it will automatically update your inventory valuation.
Where do landing cost land?
Sorry?
Where do landing cost land?
When do landing closely?
Landing cost.
Landing cost, yes, sorry. So landing cost, landed cost. I didn't show it, but landed cost work as before. So you can do a landed cost. It will just update your valuation on the stock moves. It will be taken into account regardless whether you are in FIFO or you are in AFCO or whatever. So no worries, you can do a landed cost as before.
How does the new valuation affect consignment?
Consignment. To be honest, I didn't test, but when you do consignment, you receive items which are not valued in your valuation because it's not belonging to you. So theoretically, I guess it should not affect it at all. It should not change because when you receive something in consignment, it's not valued in your inventory valuation.
How do we revalue products? We receive them at €1 from PO, but it needs to be €2. How do I change this for the products I received?
Yeah, so again, I think that's what I have showed. You just go to your moves analysis, which is the stock moves. You decide on which one you have made an error. So for example, here you see the value was 100. I just, not export. I just adjust valuation, and I just say it should not be 100. There was a mistake. Now it's 130, for example, and you save, and it's updated, and it's automatically appearing in your stock valuation over here. So, yeah, no worries with that.
Is the valuation cost affect if I make inventory adjustment?
Yeah, so that's maybe something I didn't show in details, but on my BE periodic, on the locations, here, if I go to my inventory adjustment 1, I have set an account to record the variation of inventory valuation. So every time I make an inventory adjustment, the value that will change, increasing or decreasing, will be recorded in that account. In BE periodic, it will just be stored in my interface so that I can record it later on. If I'm in Perpetual, in that case, it will be automatically updated in my accounting. So in Perpetual, we have an update of the inventory valuation in accounting when we receive a bill, when we create an invoice, or when we have a scrap, an inventory adjustment, or production.
Can I now have same valuation between branches?
Between branches? Yeah. That's a good question. I didn't test. So what's specific in there? You don't know? So I don't know what's specific in branches, but I guess it would just work as usual. So I don't know what's exactly the question, if it should be like cross branches. So for that, I think nothing changed.
If we are using perpetual valuation and average cost, would the invoice get product cost based on posting date or the product current cost?
So I think I didn't test it, but the cost should be based on the stock move date, so on the physical date and not on the date of accounting. So it's really when it's received that it enters let's say the order of stock moves with valuation, and so I think it will be based on the date of stock moves and not on the date of the when it's entered in the accounting. So I think the logic is really inventory valuation is based on how it's working in inventory. It's calculated in inventory based on a physical logic, on inventory logic, but then it's translated in accounting. But the way it's translated in accounting, in accounting it's just a translation, no calculation based on accounting date or whatever. All the calculations are based on the physical dates, on the inventory dates.
What happens if you fix the cost after creating the account entry?
If you fix the cost of what?
If you fix the cost after creating the account entry.
Sorry, I didn't get the question.
So he's saying what happened if you fix the cost after creating the account entry. So you create the account entry and then you fix the cost.
Okay. So you first make an entry, then you change the cost. I think it would be automatically changed in the next accounting period. But for that, maybe to be checked with an accounting expert. But I think you cannot make a change in accounting in the past. I mean, if you have closed your accounting period. So I guess as it is in standard right now, when there is a change in the past period, it's automatically reported to the first day of the next period.
Okay, landed cost functionally still the same?
Yes. Yeah. So it's the same thing. So no change in the landed cost for the moment.
Okay, and last question, can I adjust the price of something already not in warehouse anymore?
So adjusting the price of something that we did not receive yet. So you can change the PO price. So you can just change the PO price, and I suppose it will work correctly that way. Otherwise, if it's not working, you just need to adjust in the stock moves as we have already seen several times.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, my pleasure. Thank you.